Hello, my name is Boris Provatorov. I am the head of the press service of the RosCo consulting and audit company. What is the personal income tax rate for foreign employees? Are they entitled to a personal income tax deduction? What happens if a non-resident employee becomes a resident? We'll cover everything in details right now. Watch to be informed. Foreign citizens who come to Russia to earn money must pay tax from income received. The personal income tax is paid not only by Russians, but also by migrants. They can receive salary in our country, remuneration for works, services, dividends, and percentage from Russian companies. Determination of the foreigner's residency. Tax residency doesn't depend on the citizenship, but on the amount of the time a foreigner spends in Russia. That's why Russian citizens may not be tax residents of our country and vice versa. If foreigner stays in Russia for at least 183 calendar days within 12 consecutive months, he is considered tax resident. For the residency determination, we take the date the foreigner receives income as the starting point for the calculation and count back 12 months from that date. The billing period doesn't necessarily coincide with the calendar year. It's important that the 12 months follow one another consecutively. For example, if the income was received on the 28th of August 2023, billing period will be from this date till the 27th of July 2024. It's necessary to count how many calendar days the foreigner stayed in Russia during the previous 12 months. The required 183 days do not necessarily have to be consecutive. A foreigner could easily travel abroad during this period. Documents to confirm residency. To apply the correct personal income tax rate, an accountant needs documents confirming the foreigner's residency. For example, a copy of the national passport with stamps indicating crossing the Russian border. As the confirmation may be the employment agreement, timesheet, certificate from passport and visa department. Personal income tax rates for foreigners. Tax rate depends on the foreigner's residency. For tax residents of the Russian Federation, a 5-tier scale applies as for Russian citizens. This is 13% for incomes up to and including 2 million rubles per year, 15% for incomes up to and including 5 million, 18% for incomes up to and including 12 million. For incomes between 20 and 50 million, the rate will be 20%, and for incomes over 50 million, 22%. A foreigner's income is their salary, taking into account incentive and compensatory payments. The same scale will apply to the income of certain non-residents. These include citizens of Eurasian Economic Union member states, foreign patent holders, highly qualified specialists, refugees and crew members of ships sailing under the Russian flag. The same list includes participants in the program to assist with the voluntary resettlement of compatriots living abroad and their family members. With regard to other income of foreigners who are tax residents of Russia, two rates apply: 13% for income up to and including 2 million rubles per year, and 15% for amounts above this figure. For example, foreigners can receive interests on bank deposits from the sale of an apartment or other property, dividends from participation in other Russian companies. When paying income to non-residents, the rules of international treaties on the avoidance of double taxation must be taken into account. For example, the individual person from Turkey received dividends from his participation in Russian company. Generally, such income is subject to personal income tax at a rate of 15%. The governments of the Russian Federation and the Republic of Turkey have concluded an agreement. If a citizen is a tax resident of Turkey, dividends paid by the Russian company are taxed at the rate of 10%. Tax deductions for foreigners. If the foreigner became the tax resident of Russia, he has the right to receive the deductions. Many migrants are parents with many children, which means they can claim child deductions. Starting from the 1st of January 2025, child tax deductions are 1,400 rubles for the first child, 2,800 rubles for the second, 6,000 rubles for the third, and each subsequent child. The deduction is disabled child is 12,000 rubles. Deductions are provided until a foreigner's income from the beginning of the calendar year exceeds 450,000 rubles. When purchasing house in Russia, a foreign tax resident has the right to receive a property tax deduction. The maximum deduction will be 2 million rubles for the property itself and 3 million for interest if the mortgage loan was taken out for the purchase. Besides this, tax residents can receive the deduction for treatment, education, and social insurance. Foreigners can take an investment deduction if they deposit money into an investment account or buy securities. The tax deduction applies upon condition that the foreigner had taxable income. Are you facing immigration issues? RosCo's team of experienced lawyers can help you obtain a visa, residence permit, or citizenship. We guarantee legal support and personalized approach and confidentiality. Trust our experts. Use promo code VIDEOROSCO for a 15% discount. See all contacts information at the description. Don't delay. Act now. Changing the tax status of the foreign employee. A foreigner's tax status may change during the year. For example, non-residents will become resident of the Russian Federation. Then the Russian scale of personal income tax rates will be applied to him. For accountant, it means taxes recalculation from a calendar year beginning. A foreigner incurs an overpayment of personal income tax, which the employer offsets against the tax payment for the current year. If the overpayment remains at the end of the year, the foreigner must personally contact the tax office for a refund. By the way, we share all important changes and news in the immigration sphere on our social media. Subscribe to stay up to date. Let's summarize. The personal income tax rate doesn't depend on the foreigner's citizenship. It is determined by their residency status. The same tax rate applies to Russian tax residents as to Russian citizens. If a foreigner is a resident of our country, he is entitled to tax deductions. The deduction is provided within the limits of the calculated personal income tax on the foreigner's income. Thank you for watching the video to the very end. I'm Boris Provotorov. Do you have any questions? Don't delay, write them in the comments right now, and our lawyers from RosCo company will answer them for free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Stay up to date, stay connected with RosCo.